Welcome everyone to Afterpay Limited's annual general meeting. I'm Alana Rubin, Chair of Afterpay. We have a quorum present and I'm delighted to declare our 2021 AGM open. In doing so, I acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on the various places where we meet and recognise their continuing connection to land, water and communities. I pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Diversity and inclusion are important to Afterpay, and so I would also like to recognise all First Nation peoples and diverse communities. We value the opportunity to meet with you at our AGMs. However, due to the ongoing impact of the COVID-19 pandemic and related restrictions, we're holding the AGM virtually for a second year. Our priority is to keep you, our shareholders, as well as our employees and the community safe. We've worked hard to ensure today's virtual meeting gives shareholders ample opportunity to engage and ask questions. Our online AGM platform enables shareholders, proxies and guests to attend the meeting from the safety and comfort of their homes and offices. The platform also enables shareholders and proxies to ask questions and vote in real time. We've published on our website a virtual AGM guide and some answers to frequently asked questions regarding virtual participation. On our website, you'll also find a Computershare helpline number if you require assistance during the meeting. If you experience any technical difficulties that are unable to be resolved, the meeting is being webcast and a recording will be made available on our website. The online platform is now open for shareholder questions, which I encourage you to submit as early as possible. Also, in order to provide everyone with an opportunity to vote, and in case anyone can't stay for the entire meeting, I will now formally open the polls on all resolutions. I'd like now to introduce my fellow board members. Firstly, our executive directors and co-CEOs, Anthony Eisen and Nick Molnar, join us from San Francisco. Also online are our non-executive directors, Gary Briggs in California, Dana Stolder in San Francisco, Sharon Rothstein in New York, and Pat O'Sullivan in the Afterpay Sydney office. Joining Pat in our Sydney office is Rebecca Loud, Afterpay's Global Chief Financial Officer, and our Company Secretary, Amanda Street. Fiona Campbell from Ernst & Young, our auditor, joins us online. And in the room with me today in Melbourne is Rihanna Thurston, our Senior Director, Investor Relations. Our teams in each of these locations, including here in Melbourne, are attending the meeting while observing local COVID safe advice. And Nick and I look forward to updating you on the achievements of Afterpay during the 2021 financial year, as well as the opportunities ahead. We'll also provide an update on the proposed transaction with Square. However, I remind everyone that the forthcoming scheme meeting in December is the primary forum for questions from shareholders about the transaction. The priority for today's meeting are those matters set out in the AGM notice of meeting. Before I commence my address, there are a couple of important procedural matters for Rihanna to cover.
Thank you, Alana, and good morning, everyone. Instructions on how to participate online have been provided to shareholders. Details are also available on our website. There will be 3 items of business today. 2 require a shareholder vote. The voting resolutions are now displayed on your screen. And now displayed on your screen are the proxies received on each resolution. In advance of the meeting, we received some questions from shareholders and from the Australian Shareholders Association. We will address these questions either in the formal presentations or at the relevant item of business. You can also submit written questions today through the online platform, or you may ask questions verbally using the audio questions facility, which is also available via the platform. Written questions can be submitted at any time. If you have one prepared, please submit it now so that the Chair can answer as many questions as possible at the relevant item of business. If you prefer to ask your question verbally, we recommend that you wait until the relevant item of business before connecting to the audio questions line, as you will not be able to see the speaker or the presentation slides while you are queuing to ask your question. You will, however, be able to listen into the meeting. Please ask one question at a time. Keep your question short and to the point. This will allow as many shareholders as possible to ask a question. If your question relates to a particular item of business, please refer to that item when you submit your question. And please ensure your question is relevant to shareholders as a whole. To ask a written question, select the messaging tab at the top of the platform. Type your question and then hit the arrow symbol to send. Written questions may be moderated or amalgamated to avoid repetition. And if questions are particularly lengthy, we may need to summarise them in the interest of time. If you wish to ask a question verbally, you will need to pause the broadcast on the platform and then click on the link in the Asking Audio Questions section of the homepage. A new page will open where you will be asked to enter your name and the topic of your question before being connected and placed in the audio questions queue. You will be able to listen to the meeting on this page while you're waiting to ask your question. Once you have asked your question, please return to the online platform to continue watching the meeting and submit your votes. Each question will come through to our chair. Either Alana will answer the question or she will pass it to the most appropriate person to answer it. I'll now hand it back to the chair.
Thank you, Rihanna. I'll now take a moment to recap on some of the key FY21 milestones from the board's perspective before I address questions from shareholders. It's been yet another remarkable year for Afterpay in the world as we experienced a further 12 months influenced by the pandemic. Thankfully, much progress has been made in terms of vaccine advancement and medical improvements worldwide. It's a testament to the resilience and strength of our team that Afterpay continued to execute its strategic objectives amid ongoing and varying restrictions and health responses globally. Throughout this period, the board and management of Afterpay have remained focused on the well-being and mental health of our teams. Engagement during such a period of dislocation has been paramount. We know that some of our team members live alone, are looking after elderly family members, or are primary carers. What I was really pleased about were the comments in our employee surveys that showed while some of our teams found periods very challenging, they also felt supported. This was great feedback regarding our culture and reinforces the importance of doing the right thing for our people. The pandemic has meant lasting changes to the way we approach mental health and wellbeing at Afterpay, and in many ways we feel that we've been further empowered as a result. From my own personal perspective, I'm very pleased to be back in our new offices here in Melbourne today and look forward to being able to meet with shareholders and members of our team in person again soon. Turning now to financial and operating performance. From the board's perspective, last financial year was a very successful year. Afterpay successfully launched in Canada, Europe, across Spain, Italy and France, and continued to grow in our newer markets of the US and UK. And of course, Australia and New Zealand continue to be very important markets for us, both in terms of performance and sentiment. With a team of more than 1,300 people across Australia, New Zealand, North America, the UK and Europe, we've truly cemented Afterpay as a global company. During FY21, Afterpay generated more than $21 billion in total underlying sales. We grew our active customer base to more than 16 million, an increase of more than 60% on the prior year, and we have since partnered with more than 100,000 merchants globally. In FY21, for the first time, North America was our largest contributor to underlying sales, reflecting our rapid expansion in that region since launching in 2018. We strengthened our capital base and our balance sheet via a capital raising early in the financial year and more recently with the corporate bond issue. The funds were used to accelerate our investment into existing regions and expand into new locations. It also means that Afterpay has the capacity to fund an additional $40 billion in underlying sales. Notwithstanding our continued growth and expansion into new markets, the team closely managed our gross losses. Late fees, which we consider to be an important behavioural control, further reduced year on year. As we have grown, we've continually enhanced our risk analytics, and that's been a critical differentiator for Afterpay. During the course of this year, we've continued to scale with rapid growth in all geographies. We've continued to attract a globally diverse shareholder base, and we're pleased to deliver a 94% total shareholder return for the financial year. To support our global evolution, we continue to invest in diversification of our business during the year. We launched a number of initiatives that create value for both sides of our network. These include the launch of the in-store card, which is now live across Australia, New Zealand, the US, and most recently the UK. This enables our merchants to capitalise on the omni-channel frequency of customers that spend in-store and online. And last week, the team launched Money by Afterpay, offering to the entire Afterpay customer base here in Australia. Afterpay's strategy has always been about unlocking scale and innovation. We believe this is the best way to drive long-term value for shareholders. As we moved through FY21, we remain true to our commitment to invest for growth and believe that this is the best use of our capital. This investment will see us take advantage of opportunities globally and set us up well for the future. Any decision to pay dividends in the future will be based on the capital needs of the business at that time. I know there's a lot more underway, which Ant and Nick will speak to in more detail shortly. Today marks 12 months since we announced the appointment of Ant and Nick as co-CEOs. The board thanks them both for their leadership, focus and tenacity in delivering against strategy. Supporting our co-founders is a team of highly capable individuals with diverse world-class experiences. It was the first full year that we had the full complement of our global leadership team, and we made key regional leadership appointments. We've been very pleased to see how well the team has worked collaboratively across functions and regions. At items 2A and 2B of today's AGM, both myself and Dana Stalder are standing for re-election to the board. Dana and I will address the meeting separately on these items. FY21 was another very busy year for the board, which continues to be well supported by its Audit, Risk and Compliance Committee and its People, Remuneration and Nomination Committee. During FY21, Gary Briggs replaced me as chair of the People, Remuneration and Nomination Committee. Gary brings with him significant Silicon Valley global remuneration and benefits experience. Talent acquisition, remuneration and benefits have been a critical focus for us as we again doubled the size of our team to more than 1,300 people around the world. Having Gary's experience has been enormously helpful in how we approach talent acquisition and retention. The Afterpay Global Remuneration Framework is leveraged to equity to create greater alignment between executives and shareholders by rewarding long-term performance. The FY21 remuneration report outlines the outcomes of the balanced scorecard used to determine the FY21 short-term incentive. The business achieved 93% of the total available vesting against the targets set, which included both financial and non-financial metrics and the ability for the board to exercise discretion around doing the right thing. The remuneration of the two co-CEOs is heavily weighted to LTIs, and the exercise price is set at a 20% premium to market. Their packages exclude any RSUs and STI, and their cash remuneration is well below market. As was the case in FY20, both co-CEOs elected to forego an STI for FY21. It's important that shareholders consider all these features when asked to vote on Resolution 3 at today's meeting. This year, we continue to build out our diversity and inclusion and health and wellbeing programs with dedicated resourcing. We refreshed the principles that guide our diversity and inclusion goals and initiatives. In addition, the board approved diversity and inclusion measurable objectives. These are actionable measures that demonstrate our commitment to diversity and foster an inclusive culture. Something particularly dear to my heart is increasing the participation of women in tech. This year, we're proud to participate with the social enterprise Code Like a Girl to enable and promote young women in tech. We've also launched a partnership with the Australian Retail Association to promote financial literacy among retail workers who are often younger, often women, and working part-time. It's important that we support the next generation as they grow their financial understanding and empower them for the future. Throughout COVID, we've had a very strong focus on the health and wellbeing of our employees, customers, and partners. During the year, we appointed a Director of Wellbeing. We chose this title deliberately because it's not about compliance. Rather, it's a proactive and holistic approach to wellbeing. We want this to be part of our employee value proposition and a key part of what makes people want to work for Afterpay. We also spent a lot of time on our sustainability program, and we're pleased to have received positive shareholder feedback for these efforts. We're now very close to achieving carbon neutral certification from Climate Active after independently calculating and auditing our carbon footprint across global operations. We know that climate change and good environmental stewardship are important to our team members. Likewise, millennials and Gen Zs are placing increased focus on brands that minimise environmental impact. We're very pleased to have established this discipline within Afterpay. This week, we're announcing our newest partnership with Patch, a climate action tool that enables customers to review the emissions profile of their purchases and to take positive action by selecting from a variety of high-quality global carbon offset and removal projects, all within the Afterpay app. Together, Afterpay and Patch are focused on educating customers on their relationship with climate change. For Afterpay, the environmental, social and governance elements of ESG are of equal importance. We're keenly aware of the importance of growing the circular economy in fashion and have developed partnerships that reflect this. Such partnerships include our enhanced relationship with Thread Together, an initiative that redirects excess new clothing from retailers to vulnerable people. Our roots are deeply entwined with the fashion industry, and this year we were pleased to be able to sponsor fashion weeks across a number of regions. Here in Australia, the fashion industry contributes more than $27 billion to the Australian economy and employs almost 500,000 Australians, more than the mining and utility sector combined. We're incredibly proud to partner with the Australian Fashion Week in recognition of an industry that has championed us since day one. Being able to give back to a sector that was one of our earliest supporters was a privilege for us, and we look forward to building on this partnership in years to come. Regulation continues to be a core focus for the business as the buy now, pay later sector increases in global relevance. We continue to ensure that regulators see us as transparent, proactive, and open to engagement. We continue to work collaboratively to explain what we are and what we're not, as well as how the Afterpay model and its inbuilt protections work. It's pleasing to see that even where there is some movement in relation to regulation, including recently in the UK, that the response is proportionate to the risk, supportive of innovation, and also recognises our efforts to grow responsible spending. Although there has been some recent commentary on the narrow issue of surcharging, we look forward to engaging with the Australian Treasury as they take on a greater role in leadership of the payment system. We consider that the Australian Code of Conduct, which commenced in March, and the extensive work completed by a number of wide-ranging reviews into the sector has established a best-in-class framework that is working as intended. To be clear, we're not anti-regulation, but we believe regulation should be fit for purpose, reflective of the risk, and not stifle innovation and competition. We look forward to working with regulators to achieve this. Turning now to the Square transaction. While it's not one of the formal items on today's meeting, I did want to briefly recap the key reasons for the board recommending in favour of the transaction. The rapid growth of Afterpay and our commitment to improving financial well-being aligns us well with Square. Square and Afterpay have a shared purpose to improve customer outcomes, to make the financial system fairer and more inclusive. The complementary nature of the two businesses presents an opportunity to grow both organisations via strategic synergies and deepen the relationships between merchants and customers. It also provides an exceptional opportunity for our team members to be part of a high-growth global company. For our merchant partners, we believe the value that Afterpay has driven to date will grow even further on successful completion of the transaction with Square. Likewise, it will bring added value and differentiation to Afterpay, enabling the business to further grow with Square's 70 million annual active Cash App customers and millions of merchant sellers. Afterpay US customers will also have the benefit of Cash App's financial tools, including money transfer, stock, and Bitcoin purchases. Prior to announcing the Square transaction, the board established a dedicated subcommittee, which includes myself, as well as two other non-executive directors, to assess the deal. We were supported by highly experienced financial and legal advisors. The board, recognising the significance of the transaction, appointed its own independent advisor to advise on key issues and how they were being addressed throughout. Shareholders should now have received a copy of the Afterpay scheme booklet, inclusive of the independent experts' report, which recommends shareholders vote in favour of the transaction in the absence of a superior proposal. This follows the Square shareholder vote in favour of the transaction earlier this month. We look forward to meeting our shareholders again early next month for a dedicated AGM to vote on the transaction. If the scheme is approved at the AGM, Afterpay shareholders will be entitled to receive the scheme consideration for each Afterpay share they hold on record date. The scheme consideration will comprise 0.375 new Square securities per Afterpay share held. This is a fixed ratio, which means that shareholders will receive the ratio of 0.375 regardless of the number of shares on issue at time of completion. The board encourages all shareholders to thoroughly review the scheme booklet and other disclosure materials, and to contact the dedicated shareholder information line for any queries ahead of the EGM in December. Before I open to questions, I now invite Anne and Nick to address shareholders.
Thank you, Alana, and good morning, everyone. I'm pleased to be here with my co-founder and co-CEO, Nick Molnar, and we're both addressing you today from San Francisco. As Alana mentioned, it's been another year that's both shaped and accelerated our business. But what's continued to stand the test of time for us at Afterpay is the commitment of our world-class team to building a really incredible business that is focused on creating financial fairness and financial freedom for our customers. At the centre of our approach remains a focus on how we show up, support and empower our customers, merchants and employees, especially during another challenging year. A year ago, I'd not have thought that we'd face another 12 months of intermittent restrictions across all our operating regions. And while it's been a difficult period, it's also served to reinforce our commitment to a range of permanent health and wellbeing measures for our teams. These included the introduction of a weekly wellbeing hour, where teams are encouraged to step away from their desk and to do something focused on their mental and physical well-being. We also held quarterly wellness days and encouraged staff to use that time as part of a long weekend with friends or family, or however they wanted to spend it, to help them rest and recharge. More recently, we've had the privilege of partnering with the Resilience Project to roll out a 10-week series on gratitude, empathy and mindfulness for our global team. It's really a fantastic initiative that's being led by team members across our organisation who have been sharing their insights and experiences along the way. FY21 saw Afterpay deliver strong growth. Notwithstanding the challenging circumstances we've all faced as a result of the pandemic, we've continued to execute our global strategy, which saw us surpass all expectations. We grew 102% year on year in FY21 on a constant currency basis. This saw us exceed our $20 billion target, for underlying sales about 12 months early. We also saw that more than 16 million customers paid with Afterpay, and we partnered with more than 100,000 merchants. We held our merchant margin in line with FY20 and kept gross losses low. And we doubled the size of our global team, who were critical in launching a range of new product innovations. I wanted to call out the incredible contribution of our globally leading product, engineering, and data teams. They've gone above and beyond this year to create an array of experiences and enhancements for Afterpay. Drawing out a few examples, they've leveraged machine learning models to create personalised shopping experience across the Afterpay app and CRM. They've created new app features like wishlist, personalised product collections, and enhanced search experience that has grown monthly active app users by 80% year on year. We've also developed new ways to increase sales for our merchants through solutions like Express Checkout, cross-border transactions, and the Afterpay button, which is quick and easy integration. We've scaled our in-app single-use payment solution to US merchants, including globally recognised retailers like Target, Nike, and Converse, which Nick will speak to shortly. We've continued to deliver because of the great work of our teams globally. And this can't be overemphasized, how much the team has put in over the past 12 months. The pandemic has forced the world to adapt to living and working differently. It's changed the way customers relate to their finances and how they expect to participate in future commerce. The next generation of customers trust Afterpay because we enable them to spend their own money on the things they want, with full transparency of their financial position and without the fear of entering revolving debt or exorbitant interest. 90% of Australian customers state that Afterpay helps them with budgeting. And during the last 12 months, these same customers saved more than $110 million in credit card fees by using Afterpay instead of a credit card. It's no surprise, therefore, that 1 million credit cards were cancelled in Australia in the last year alone, as more and more people use Afterpay to get rid of revolving debt and improve their financial well-being. We've always been anchored in our mission of creating financial financial fairness and freedom for customers. And we're excited that our newest product release, Money by Afterpay, is giving us yet another way to engage with our customers about personal financial management and in the process, shake up the incumbents. We announced our collaboration with Westpac just over 12 months ago, and last week we launched it to Australia. A pretty remarkable engineering and product team feat, one that could argue would usually take twice the amount of time at least. Our EVP of New Platforms, Lee Hatton, and her team have done an amazing job to bring this to life with more than 2,100 hours of conversations, content, and insights gathered from our Gen Z and millennial customers. Money by Afterpay is now immediately available to more than the 3.6 million Afterpay customers in Australia. One of the most exciting new features of the product is the inclusion of money stories, a data-driven approach providing personalised financial insights. The Money by Afterpay experience is one shaped entirely by the generation for which it was built. An overwhelming 81% of Australians believe the topic of finance and money are still taboo. Of these, 2/3 or 65% wish this wasn't the case. And it's even more pronounced with the next generation, rising to 86% amongst Gen Z and 78% amongst millennials who wish money could be more openly discussed. As customers' needs change, Money Stories gives a customer daily and weekly bespoke insights into earnings, spending, and savings within the app, as well as their buy now, pay later balance. With this level of insight and visibility, a customer can build money confidence in a simple and easy to digest way. The overall proposition is strongly aligned with our core commitment to responsible spending, and I'm especially proud of the fact that the Money product has been developed and launched in Australia for the rest of the world to see. It really is a new high watermark for us at Afterpay and for the financial industry globally. During FY21, we also announced our refreshed Pulse loyalty program to reward not spending more, but responsible spending with Afterpay. The refreshed program includes features that enable a customer to personalise their repayments to better match their cash flows and secure exclusive offers and promotions from merchants. Pulse is also going to serve as a key integration point for our Money by Afterpay offering. When using Money, customers can accumulate points for setting up a daily transaction account and get extra points for reaching their first savings goal with $50 deposited. This is about providing a customer that little bit extra to feel confident in reaching their goals and to feel rewarded when they reach them. Pulse now has more than 3 million members worldwide who are frequent customers, highly engaged with our merchants and spending responsibly. As the world re-emerges from this unprecedented period, we've been looking deeply at the future of retail. In Australia, the recent Lockdown Liberation Report highlighted the way in which millennial and Gen Z customers are reclaiming their lives. While shopping online for things like health and exercise equipment, pet-related goods and apparel featured heavily during lockdown, more than 2/3 of Australians missed being able to physically look through stores and to see and feel their purchases. The report found that 55% missed trying on clothes before they bought them, and this underscores the importance of our diversification with in-store and ultimately our long-term investment into omni-channel commerce. Further, as the world reopens physical retail, Afterpay and our merchant partners have been welcoming customers back in store. We know in-store is important not just because it is much larger than online, but because customers purchase more frequently when they can use both channels. We've invested into visual merchandise training for our retail partner workforces and providing a seamless in-store card experience that can be used across Australia, New Zealand, the United States, and more recently, the United Kingdom. We know from scaling the in-store card across Australia and New Zealand and the US that more than 1/3 of customers make their first purchase online before heading in store. Through our data and insights, we know that customers who only shop online do so on average 6 times a year, compared to customers who have shopped online and in-store have an average frequency of 24 times. Omnichannel customers are more engaged, more frequent, and are of higher value to a merchant. The in-store card can now be used at close to 60,000 storefronts globally, and we're very confident that this will continue to grow following the successful launch in the UK, where we are live with brands like Pandora and Foot Locker. During FY21, we also launched the Afterpay virtual prepay card, enabling our US customers to purchase from a range of e-commerce merchants that have no direct integration with Afterpay. This has been a highlight for customers, with the first-time users returning to make their second purchase within 30 days. Our global customers transact on average 36 times per annum across 7 verticals and 15 merchants. Customer frequency continues to grow across each of our regions. As we look beyond the pandemic, we know that customers are looking to reconnect with family and friends, either through travel or a good meal. And that's why we've extended our partnerships and broadened our verticals to include Webjet, Jetstar, Luxury Escapes, Agoda Hotels, and more recently, Australian Venue Co and Maryvale. Looking forward and turning now to FY22. As we make our way through the first half of FY22, we continue to act on our strategy, which includes consolidating Afterpay's leadership position across our existing geographies, further enhancing the customer experience and growing habituation via our new revenue streams. Thirdly, investing in our omni-channel approach and leveraging data and insights across new initiatives, including Afterpay IQ, our new merchant insights platform, which Nick will speak to shortly. And finally, maintaining our customer-aligned, low-risk and self-reinforcing business model that is capital efficient and strongly differentiated. I also wanted to echo Alana's earlier sentiments on the opportunity that the future combination with Square presents. I acknowledge we have the AGM in a few weeks, and so I'll keep my comments brief. But I know I speak on behalf of everyone at Afterpay when I say that we are tremendously excited by the prospect of bringing together the ecosystems of these two fantastic businesses. As Alana mentioned, we strongly believe in the compatibility, not just of our operations, but of our team culture and our commitment to improving financial well-being. Bringing our 16 million customers together with Square's 70 million annual active Cash App customers is a significant first step post-completion. But we can also see opportunities to share experiences and initiatives, whether that's crypto, millennial investing, or omni-channel commerce. We look forward to sharing the experience with our shareholders, employees, customers, and partners. On that, I want to offer our sincere gratitude to everyone in the Afterpay team for their outstanding contribution to our business over the last year, again under difficult circumstances. It's been a privilege to watch our team grow and expand globally as we continue to scale our business. And of course, thank you to you, our shareholders, our customers and merchants who continues to support us. We're incredibly humbled by your investment and partnership as we pursue our growth ambitions. I'll now hand over to Nick to talk through some of the work being done on behalf of our merchant partners. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ant. It's been a phenomenal year, a true testament to the teams everywhere who went above and beyond for Afterpay. I'm proud to be able to share some of the amazing achievements from our awesome team this morning. Personally, I've spent some time in the past few months with our teams in the US, Australia, and the UK, and it's been awesome to see the world reopening. Particularly for a global business such as ours, the connection has certainly been enabled by technology, but the chance to reconnect in person again has been incredible. Notwithstanding the dynamic and unprecedented conditions of the last 12 months, we've been privileged enough to continue to expand our global reach. In March, we launched into Spain, Italy, and France, where we now have more than 500 merchants contracted or integrating. These include huge names such as Shein, Boohoo, JD Sports, Pandora, and Superdry, which have gone live right across Europe. We released our global API, and the recent expansion of channel and PSP partnerships in Europe will likewise accelerate merchant onboarding in the future. In particular, our expansion into Germany remains a priority based on retail-led demand, and we'll see our teams evaluating other regions for FY22 and beyond. During FY21, we unlocked the opportunity for US and Canadian merchants to sell cross-border with Trade Now Live for customers and merchants across the US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and the UK. While cross-border trade is a small but growing contributor to underlying sales, it's a key value add for merchants looking to tap into our global customer base without needing to establish their own local presence. Afterpay cross-border trade customers transact around 24 times more frequently than domestic-only shoppers, making them a valuable cohort for our merchants. During the year, we reached an important milestone with more than 100,000 brands now live and integrating with Afterpay across online and in-store. And as customers return to brick and mortar storefronts, massive enterprise merchants such as Lululemon, Michael Kors, PetSmart are all reaping the benefits of going omni-channel with Afterpay. More recently, we're pleased to partner with global brands such as Wayfair, Zappos, and Nordstrom. Year to date, with these brands and others, we've launched approximately $50 billion of addressable GMV in the US alone, online and in store. While we continue to grow our offering internationally, the size and scale of the US retail economy makes it our biggest growth opportunity. Since launching in the US in 2018, the region has become a very important part of Afterpay's growth trajectory. During FY21, underlying sales generated in North America exceeded those of Australia and New Zealand for the first time. A new research study released in October showed that Afterpay is driving meaningful benefits to US merchants and customers alike. In 2021, merchants using Afterpay stand to gain $4.5 billion in net benefits, which includes almost $1.2 billion in net benefits for small to medium-sized businesses. At the same time, our consumers are set to save up to $459 million in fees and interest by making their purchases with Afterpay instead of credit cards or other APR or interest-bearing products. And this activity is helping to support more than 70,000 jobs employed in the American economy during 2021, a meaningful commitment when considering the effects of COVID on employment. As we look forward, we know our value to our merchant partners is not just in the dollar. We offer the currency of retail intelligence and customer-centric insights, our newest analytics offering being Afterpay IQ. We launched in September. Afterpay IQ is now used by more than 1,200 of our merchants globally. The platform offers merchants in-depth analytics, enabling them to better understand what's driving results and how to optimize and enhance their retail offering. The analytics platform provides AI-powered insights, visualizations, and real-time data in one highly accessible self-service user interface. Merchants can access real-time business performance at a specific store level. This provides a single source to evaluate marketing performance, omni-channel shopping volumes, and payment conversion. With an ability to monitor sales, average order value, and order trends over time, merchants can also develop a better understanding via customer personas and demographics, with the platform able to recommend next best actions to optimize business performance. One of our biggest recent names to join Afterpay and one of the first users on Afterpay IQ, on the Afterpay IQ product, is Pandora Jewelry. It's been an absolute pleasure to work with the Pandora team and all of our merchants to enhance their marketing decisions with data and improve their capacity to target new audiences. Pandora has likewise gone live with another of our new product initiatives, and one that I am particularly excited about being Afterpay advertising. Afterpay ads gives brands new ways to connect with our engaged next generation audience. Brands now have access to premium inventory as well as the opportunity to promote offers, products and collections to Afterpay's highly engaged global audience. As with our new revenue initiatives, in-app advertising is successfully extending the power of our ecosystem and enabling us to monetize this beyond the direct merchant integration. Demand for Afterpay ads in the US has certainly exceeded our initial expectations. There are more than 150 brands signed up when brands promote their products using Afterpay ads. Customers start their shopping journey with Afterpay, curating wish lists, favorites, and buying in and out of network. As Afterpay sends millions of referrals to retailers as we further build our advertising and insights capability, global retailers are increasingly recognizing us as a global marketing and commerce partner. As Anne touched on earlier, we're going to continue to invest in these attributes during FY22. In particular, we're intending to expand our advertising capabilities by introducing new, innovative ad products that help merchants capture high-intent audiences. This includes the launch of a sponsored search pilot later this month. And separately, we're looking to bring these capabilities to other regions in the second half of FY22. These innovations result in greater customer frequency via the Afterpay app and delivers value to our merchant partners globally via a combination of high conversion, higher sales, and increased average order value. Before I finish, I want to say a big thank you to the global fashion industry, which has been so important to the successful growth of Afterpay. Designers and merchants globally have embraced Afterpay and enabled a generation of customers to access fashion in a financially responsible way. When we started this journey a little over 6 years ago, I would never have thought that we'd end up being the principal partner of Fashion Week in Australia, London, and New York. Even more incredible was to see the Empire State Building in New York light up in Afterpay's Bondi mint colour. The opportunity to support sustainable success of the industry in which we grew up was a really proud moment for all of us in the Afterpay team. Bringing these themes of diversity and inclusion and sustainability and accessibility to the forefront of our conversations through these partnerships was both important and rewarding. It's been another huge year for Afterpay, and we couldn't have done it without the tenacity and commitment of our talented teams. A little over a month ago, we opened our new San Francisco office. As I walked into the building, it was incredible to see our team and feel the energy and enthusiasm. Sharing these moments is exactly why I love Afterpay. To our merchant partners and customers, thank you for your ongoing loyalty. You are the reason why we get up every morning. To our shareholders, those who have been with us from the beginning, and those who have recently joined, thank you for supporting our journey and providing us with an opportunity to move forward towards our vision. As we look ahead to Afterpay's AGM and shareholder vote in a few weeks' time, I cannot emphasize enough that the combination of what Afterpay has built, together with Square's extensive customer and merchant base, is something that will supercharge our business and team 10 times over. From this perspective, we are also very excited at the opportunity ahead, particularly in North America, where we believe there is scope to enable buy now, pay later for millions of Square sellers, supporting their growth through higher transaction sizes and conversion rates. Likewise, we look forward to the opportunity in which we can introduce the seller ecosystem to Afterpay's merchants and grow our combined presence in store into new verticals. We're constantly evolving at Afterpay, and Square represents the next step in our journey and is one that we believe we can bring tremendous benefits to both companies, but more importantly to customers and merchants that form our ecosystem. We believe that the combination with Square is the most compelling next step for our teams and our business. I look forward to speaking about this with our shareholders in further detail in early December. I will now hand back to our chair, Alana.
Thanks, Ant and Nick. As chair of Afterpay, I'm likewise proud of what this incredible company has achieved in its short but impactful history. From the original launching point as a Sydney-based startup just 6 years ago, it's remarkable to see what's been delivered by our teams around the world, who work every day to ensure that everyone has equitable financial access. On behalf of the board, I thank Nick and Ant, our management team, and our team members globally. Each of you has worked tirelessly through another difficult year, and your commitment and passion for our vision has never wavered. As we look ahead with excitement at the opportunity that FY22 presents, I thank all shareholders for your support of the business, and I now open the meeting to shareholder questions. I'll respond to questions on the presentation so far or on Afterpay in general, and I'll respond to relevant questions received in advance of the meeting first.
Thank you, Alana. We've received the following question in advance of the meeting from shareholder Heather Muir. After the merger, will there eventually be a decision to pay shareholders dividends?
Thank you very much for the question. It's actually a question best directed to Square, but I will say that historically, both Square and Afterpay have focused on investing back into their respective businesses to scale globally and to drive long-term returns. And when you think about the number of customers and merchants that we both have, you can see the results of investing back in the business and the strong returns generated to investors. I don't expect, without being able to speak to Square, I would think that Square will continue to invest in its business rather than to pay any dividends in the shorter term. But really, it will be a decision made by the Square board at the time, subject to their strategy, subject to their capital management plans, and any other considerations they may have. Thank you.
Alana, we received the following question in advance of the meeting from shareholder Linda Morman. Any news regarding the registration of the Indonesian business?
Thank you for the question again. In note 18 of the FY21 annual report, we've recorded that Afterpay acquired Impact Kali in August 2020. At that time, Impact Kali had not yet received the Indonesian business license required to operate as what Indonesia calls the information technology-based peer-to-peer lending service provider in the region. Despite the best intentions and efforts of the Impact Kali team, they were unsuccessful in securing regulatory permission from the Indonesian Financial Services Authority, which advised that the licence would not be granted. Without that licence, Impact Kali was unable to provide payment instalment services in Indonesia. The cash payment that was contingent upon receiving the licence has not and will not be paid, but Afterpay does remain committed to the APAC region and retains a strategic foothold in Singapore. Thank you.
Alana, we have received 3 questions in advance of the meeting from Christine Hayden as a volunteer monitor for the Australian Shareholders Association. The first question is, expenses in general have significantly increased. Is there a focus on reducing these, and are there KPIs in place?
Thank you. Just before I answer the question, I do want to thank the Australian Shareholders Association for their engagement with the company in the lead up to this AGM and how they represent their members. And we've continued to have very good dialogue with them this year as we've had in the past. So a general thank you. But going back to the question, investment in FY21 was made into scaling our global operations and growing underlying sales. This included investment in people and marketing during the period. Investments included some initiatives such as the Pay Better marketing campaign, which was targeted at growing customer awareness and engagement, particularly in the United States, where buy now, pay later is still less than 2% of all payments in that region. We don't anticipate making the same level of investment in above-the-line advertising as we move through FY22. In respect of KPIs, the EBITDA value used under the FY21 scorecard is aligned to how the group reports EBITDA to the market and reflects the underlying earnings of the group. It helps ensure that executives are held accountable for the global performance of the group, including operating expenditure.
Alana, the second question from Christine Hayden for the ASA is, could you share insights on the FY21 net transaction loss? Is there a benchmark or expected level of NTL? Are there any new measures being introduced to help reduce this?
Thank you. There's a lot in that question, so let me just begin that Afterpay's net transaction loss, NTL, is a management metric which comprises gross losses, chargebacks and debt recovery costs, less Afterpay late fees. NTL for last financial year was 132.6 million or 0.6% of underlying sales. This is an increase of 0.2 percentage points above the FY20 measure and reflected lower contributions from late fees. Late fees have been coming down, as I've said, and they now represent less than 0.4% of underlying sales. Gross loss is another key input into NTL, and that represented 0.9% of FY21 underlying sales, consistent with the prior period. Holding gross losses at 0.9% is a strong result, given that 6 million new customers and 43,000 new merchants were added to the platform last financial year.
Alana, the final question from Christine Hayden for the ASA is, on the use of AI data and insights to the extensive understanding of your customers, we understand that you have a small team within Afterpay that uses data analysis. Is this the future, and how does that work with data privacy and the relationship between customers and merchants?
Thank you for that question. And it's a very exciting initiative for us. We've developed a sophisticated, unsupervised machine learning algorithm which processes our transactional data and assigns our customers to individual personas based on their purchasing history with Afterpay. We've leveraged merchant and product level data in order to create these personas, and it gives insight into customer motivations. We see it as an enriched way of viewing performance and providing insights into areas of overperformance and opportunities for our merchant partners. But I do want to stress that data privacy is of utmost importance to us. And this portal is designed to help merchants understand their performance with Afterpay, but consistent and with all the privacy safeguards. As such, the only data a merchant can see in the portal is their own, which has been de-identified by individual and is only shown on an aggregated persona basis.
Thank you, Alana. I will now turn to questions submitted online. Alana, we've received one question from Mr. Timothy Gregory Brown. Can you please speak to some of the differences on launch of Money by Afterpay from those originally announced? Namely, the interest rate, 1% on 1 million announced at 0.75% on 50K or $50,000 at launch. I feel we've wasted a big incentive for take-up of a Money by Afterpay account with higher wealth, lower risk customers.
Thank you for that question, Mr. Brown. As Ant said, we're very excited by the launch of Money by Afterpay, but behind the launch was extensive work and testing with our customer base so we could ensure the product responded to their needs. Money by Afterpay is targeted really at millennials and Gen Zs as the main market. And what we heard from them was that the limit that we previously had flagged was just too high for their needs and wasn't relevant. What they wanted was access to a savings account in a simple and straightforward way, no hoops, and they could get an appropriate interest rate. And what you'll see with our product is we've managed to achieve that. It is simple to access. There are no hoops, and our customers will be able to see exactly what they're receiving and receive the interest rate. If you haven't yet accessed the app, I encourage you to do so. When you look at it, it is just fabulous. It is as user-friendly and exciting, as customer-centric as anything that you would expect from Afterpay. And so far, the feedback from our customers has been very positive, with the app achieving a 4.6 rating in the App Store. So we continue to be very excited, and we've continued to have, high hopes for Money by Afterpay. Thank you.
Thank you, Alana. There are no further online questions.
Can I just check if there are any audio questions, please?
There are no audio questions at this time.
Thank you. On that basis, we'll move to today's formal business. The notice of meeting has been made available to you all. I will take that document as read. As previously noted, we have 3 items of business. Items 2 and 3 include resolutions requiring a vote. Voting will be conducted by way of a poll, and the poll on each resolution is open. After discussion on each resolution that requires a vote, we will again display proxies received on your screen. That doesn't mean you have to vote now. You can wait to hear the question and answers on each item and then vote, as voting will remain open until the end of the meeting. Chris Dedrick from Computershare, Afterpay's share registry, will act as the returning officer for the purposes of conducting and determining the results of the poll. If you are eligible to vote today and are logged in on the online platform, a voting tab will appear. Once you click this, the resolution will appear and you can select a voting option. There's no need to hit submit or send, as the vote is automatically recorded. You can change or cancel your vote at any time until I declare the meeting closed, until I declare voting closed at the end of the meeting. Proxy holders are reminded that you must vote in accordance with the proxy holder's direction. Any directed proxies that are not voted will automatically default to me as chair of the meeting. I'm required to vote those proxies as directed. All proxies that are open and available to me as chair of the meeting will be voted in favour of the relevant resolution. We'll now move to the first item of business. Item 1 is receipt and consideration of the Afterpay Group's financial reports for the year ending 30 June 2021. These reports were approved by the board and provided to you with our 2021 annual report. They are also available on our website. There's no need to pass any resolution on the reports. However, shareholders and proxies are welcome to ask questions in relation to the accounts or the overall activities of Afterpay. They may also ask questions of Ernst & Young that are relevant to the conduct of the audit, the preparation and the content of the auditor's report, the accounting policies adopted in preparing the financial statements, and the auditor's independence. All questions to the auditor should first be directed to me as chair, and if appropriate, I'll ask Fiona Campbell to address the meeting. We've encouraged shareholders to submit questions in advance of the meeting, and the main themes were incorporated and addressed in our earlier presentations. But I will now respond to any further questions shareholders submit online.
Alana, we have not received any questions on item 1.
Thank you. And can I confirm if there are any audio questions?
There are no audio questions.
Thank you. Item 2 concerns the re-election of directors. As I am standing for re-election today, Pat O'Sullivan, one of our non-executive directors, will chair the meeting for this item. Thanks, Pat.
Thank you, Alana, and apologies for the pause. Good morning, everybody. Alana Rubin was appointed as an independent non-executive director of Afterpay on the 30th of March 2017. She was appointed Chair on the 25th of May 2020. Prior to this, she served as Interim Chair. Alana is a member of both the Audit, Risk and Compliance Committee and the People, Remuneration and Nomination Committee. Alana submits herself for re-election to the board today. Alana's qualifications, background and experience are summarised in the notice of meeting. Alana is a highly experienced chair and she plays a key role in the dynamic and success of the board. Her deep understanding and commitment to the business are highly valued, as are her skills in navigating different stakeholders. She brings a depth and diversity of expertise, and her continuing leadership and governance oversight are considered by the board to be particularly important in changing times. In recommending Alana's re-election, the board notes that Alana has confirmed that she will continue to have sufficient time to fulfil her duties as a director and chair of Afterpay. I invite Alana to speak.
Thanks, Pat. I was a little bit worried about that pause, but it's good to be back online. It's a privilege to be involved in the governance of organisations, especially one as innovative and leading as Afterpay. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk to my re-election. I've been a non-executive director for over 20 years across a broad range of companies and sectors, including technology, financial services, telco, insurance and property. One thing that I seek out, one thing that's important to me is a sense of purpose, and that is absolutely a feature of Afterpay. Boards play an important role in the governance and performance of organisations. More than ever, boards are actively involved in ensuring the voices of shareholders, customers and the community are considered. I believe that companies that have regard to the needs of their broader stakeholders are best placed to deliver sustainable long-term performance. I'm very proud to have been part of the Afterpay story. Much has been written about the return delivered to shareholders, and rightly so, but I'm equally proud of what and how we have delivered to customers and our merchant partners, and how our model delivers for both those groups, and the culture we've established for our employees. I'm passionate about having a positive and open culture, of caring of how we deliver results, of recruiting smart people, of being conscious to capture the benefits of diversity and inclusion, and of taking care of our employees, especially during the challenges of the last 18 months. I'm also passionate for Afterpay to continue its positive and proactive engagement with our stakeholders and to lean into our social responsibility, whether it's to support the fashion industry, which has been impacted by COVID, or to play our part in promoting the circular economy, or to consider how we can reduce our impact on the environment. In the less than 5 years since I joined the Afterpay board, the company has been through significant growth and change. Throughout that time, I've been actively involved in the governance of Afterpay through my membership of the Audit, Risk and Compliance Committee and the People Committee, and as chair of the subcommittee monitoring regulatory matters and the subcommittee overseeing the negotiations with Square. My pleasure in being on the Afterpay board reflects not only my interest in being involved with a company that is a leader in its field, but more importantly, a company that has a strong sense of purpose to enable fairness and financial freedom for all. I believe that my knowledge of Afterpay, my experience across a range of sectors, my commitment to shareholders, customers, stakeholders and our employees enables me to bring a perspective to the board and to add value to our deliberations. With shareholder support, I look forward to being re-elected as a director of Afterpay. Thank you.
Thank you, Alana. I will now move to questions.
Pat, we have not received any questions.
Thank you. And are there any audio questions?
There are no audio questions at this time.
Thank you. The proxies received in respect of Resolution 2A are now shown on your screen. Please submit your vote on Resolution 2A if you have not already done so. I will now hand back to Alana.
Thank you, Pat. Dana Stolder was appointed as an independent non-executive director of Afterpay on the 24th of January 2018. His reappointment is part of Resolution 2B. Dana is a member of the Audit, Risk and Compliance Committee. He submits himself for re-election to the board today. Dana's qualifications, background and experience is summarised in the notice of meeting. Dana's contribution to the board is highly valued given his significant fintech and customer internet expertise. He has a deep understanding of the key drivers of our business, which is critical in his role as a member of the Audit, Risk and Compliance Committee, and he brings a global perspective to the board. In recommending Dana's re-election, the board notes that Dana has confirmed he will continue to have sufficient time to fulfil his duties as a director of Afterpay. We'll now play a message to shareholders from Dana, who is attending today's meeting from San Francisco.
Hello, and thank you for your interest in today's meeting. My name is Dana Stalder. I have been a non-executive director of Afterpay since January 2018, and I'm delighted to stand for re-election to the board today. By way of background, I bring to the board my 30 years of experience working with technology companies. I'm a Silicon Valley-based general partner at Matrix Partners, which is a global venture capital firm focused on technology investing. I lead Matrix's fintech investing in the United States, and I've been a technology investor and professional director on a full-time basis for about 13 years. Prior to venture capital, I held a number of roles in Silicon Valley tech companies. Most recently, I was the commercial chief of PayPal, where as the senior vice president of product sales and marketing, I helped lead the company through its US and global expansion. Prior to PayPal, I led growth at eBay as the head of internet marketing and corporate development. I was part of the founding team at Respond.com, a venture-backed local services marketplace. And prior to that, I rose through the ranks at Netscape, where I joined as one of the first 30 employees and ultimately led the company's successful IPO and ultimate $10 billion sale to AOL. Much of my time as a director of Afterpay has been spent guiding and overseeing management on strategy and scaling of Afterpay's US operations. I have deep experience and insights in building and scaling high-growth technology companies in the US market, and I feel this experience was important in the board oversight of this expansion and my ability to assist management. I'm proud of the team that has been built and the success the company has had in the US since that journey began just 4 years ago. I believe Afterpay has executed well and been thoughtful about its strategy in a highly competitive category. Thank you for listening to my background and for allowing me to serve in this board. I hope you come away from today's AGM with a deeper understanding of Afterpay and the opportunities ahead. In particular, the significant opportunity that exists for the business in combination with Square. With your support, I hope to continue to serve on the board to grow value for our shareholders. Thank you.
Thank you, Dana. I'll now move to questions. Rihanna?
Alana, we have not received any questions on item 2B.
Thank you. And no audio questions either?
No audio questions.
Thank you very much. The proxies received in respect of Resolution 2B are now shown on your screen. Please submit your vote on Resolution 2B if you have not already done so. Turning now to item 3. Item 3 is the adoption of Afterpay's remuneration report for the year ending 30 June 2021. The remuneration report is set out in our 2021 annual report. Before I move to questions, I want to reiterate to the benefit of all shareholders that the Afterpay remuneration structure is based around 4 key components: a moderate fixed cash payment, an annual fixed grant of restricted stock units or RSUs, which vest in equal parts over 3 years subject to service, a moderate cash short-term incentive or STI, which is linked to a balanced scorecard and is subject to board discretion around doing the right thing, and a long-term incentive program or LTI, which includes annual grants of market-priced options that are subject to long-term performance hurdles tested over 3 years. The remuneration report aims to provide shareholders with an understanding of the links between Afterpay's strategy, its performance and executive remuneration, as well as the framework we have in place to ensure effective governance of remuneration matters. I'll now move to questions. Rhianna?
Alana, we have not received any questions in relation to item 3.
And any audio?
There are no audio questions at this time.
Thank you very much. The proxies received in respect of this resolution are now shown on your screen. Please submit your vote on resolution 3 if you have not already done so. That concludes the formal business of this meeting. All that remains is to complete online voting. The poll will close in approximately 60 seconds. Please finalise your voting if you have not already done so. The final poll results will be released to the ASX and made available on our website later today. On behalf of the board, thank you for your attendance today and your ongoing support of Afterpay. We look forward to engaging with you at the scheme meeting in early December. Thank you. The poll is now closed, and I also declare the meeting closed. Enjoy your day. Thank you.